welcome back. This is the first week of March.
First week, yep.
And this week we are reading, or this month we're reading sequels.
Sequels. I kept saying series, but sequels is a way better term for it.
Sequels to books we've already read, mainly on the pod.
All on the pod.
All on the pod, I guess. To start it off, this week we are doing...
Also, this is Ayesha, what happened to this podcast.
This is Lexi, the other half of this podcast.
And welcome.
Why do you ask me to start if you don't like the order I go in?
You just sometimes forget what order we
Why
normally go in.
Why do I need to introduce myself? People have been if people are listening to this, they should already know.
I mean, theoretically, or they've just jumped in because they saw that we're covering Leather Lark, and they...
Well, I didn't even say Leather Lark.
But the title will. On the episode. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I don't want to do it anymore.
So we read Leather Lark by... Okay, so they said Brynne in the audiobook?
Yeah.
Okay, because I saw some Instagrammer was like, Brynne, and I was like, oh.
I don't trust Instagrammers. I don't trust bookstagrammers as far as I can throw them.
Okay. Anyway, so the audiobook, when they said the author's name, said Brynne. Yeah. Okay, because the audiobook's going to be correct.
Yeah.
Because she would have approved it.
Mm-hmm.
So Brynne Weaver.
Yeah.
Who's a Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
From Nova Scotia.
Yeah. Why do you start to eat when we record? I
don't know.
It's either candy or something chewy, or you're chugging tea.
I mean, I'm always drinking tea because my vocal cords need to be lubricated while we're recording podcasts.
Sure. Whatever you say.
I was making that up. I just always have tea. Okay. So this is book two in the Ruinous Love series. And so okay, let's start with tropes. So
marriage of convenience.
Yep. Enemies to lovers.
Mm-hmm.
Forced proximity. I feel like forced proximity and marriage of convenience kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Dark romance. Although, this isn't that dark.
It's just it's a dark comedy. They're still killing people. Well, she's killing people. Murderous woman.
Yeah. What else? I don't know how this doesn't feel, thinking about it now, it didn't feel that tropey, but I can pull up what the Goodreads tags are. I have not figured out how to look at the tags on Storygraph yet.
There's
because there's a way to tag stuff. I just I
don't know how to run Storygraph in general.
It is kind of confusing. I would agree with that it is confusing. Okay, what are the tags? Thriller? I don't know if I would
I mean, I don't know if it's a thriller because you know exactly who is after them the whole time.
See, also, I would say that Butcher Blackbird is more thriller. Has more thriller suspense elements than this does. This is pretty I wouldn't agree with that. Slow burn?
Sure. Yeah.
Would you consider this Grumpy Sunshine?
I mean, yeah. Lachlan is grumpy.
Yeah, but I feel like Lark is also secretly grumpy and just puts on a face.
No, she's secretly murderous, but she's putting gold stars in people's tits.
I think that's so funny. I mean, that's probably the big ones that I can think of right now.
I don't know. I can't really think of any other ones.
Okay. So, trigger warnings? I mean, she does list the trigger warnings in the front of this book. I didn't think the pizza thing was that bad.
When you're reading it, I think it's very different when you're listening to it. Because I was listening to this, so I read the book originally, and this time around, I was listening to the audiobook. And when they were describing that smoothie, I was gagging. I was like walking and I was like,
So you know when they did the scooping of the eye,
yeah,
did they gag in the audio?
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I could see that. I could see like hearing them gag and like hearing the way it's coming across be grosser than, because I didn't find it that gross, but I didn't listen to the audiobook. I read it because I was able to like kind of glaze over
It
it.
was pretty gross when you described that smoothie.
Okay, that's fair. So okay, because I personally thought that the cum ice cream from Butcher and Blackbird was worse, but I also didn't listen to the audiobooks.
No, it was a smoothie that's worth.
Really? So you think that this was grosser?
Yeah, because
Okay.
it was like,
Also, this didn't, like, the ice cream thing happens like mid book.
it wasn't like
so it eases you in. This just
this
like
with
opening
this,
scene.
It
almost.
It wasn't like, because they weren't directly eating the ice cream or like, they just had the carton. Where this one, he had to shove it down the dude's throat.
Yeah.
And he's like, it is so disgusting.
It was gross. I mean, yeah. So I didn't quite find it as gross, but yeah, I didn't listen to it, so maybe that's why. I just felt like this book was so much tamer.
Yeah.
I would read the trigger warnings. Honestly,
The eyeball scooping was pretty gross too, though.
if I hadn't read the trigger warning that says "Don't worry, the dog lives," I would have been not prepared. But I was prepared going into it by reading that trigger warning. So I will say the dog lives. Also, the trigger warnings in this doesn't really spoil it, so you're fine. Sometimes they do, this one doesn't, in my opinion. When you listen to the audiobook, do they read them out?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I figured, but interesting. Okay. Okay. Any other trigger warnings? Besides, like, I guess read what's in it?
I don't think so.
Okay. So this has a Goodreads rating of, this is a 4, like a straight 4. And it has almost 200,000 ratings. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
I honestly expected this to have a lower rating.
Why?
Because it just didn't hit the same.
I honestly, it's just like, it's like those popular books. I don't get me wrong. If it's lower than it, like if it's like a 3.5, that's when I'm like, okay, there might be something not good with this book. But most of the time, if it's like a really popular author that people just like automatically read and like,
right. I mean, this was highly anticipated.
So like, I don't trust the ratings that much because like some people are just gonna give it 5 stars just because it's
the author,
Brynne
like
Weaver,
Allie Hazelwood. People
Yeah.
will do that. Like Emily Henry, people will do that.
I don't trust star ratings in that sense.
I mean, compared to, so Butcher and Blackbird has over 400,000 ratings. This has almost 200,000. So there is quite a discrepancy in, like, some people read half the people that read the first one didn't read the second one.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, like, I think some people didn't like Butcher and Blackbird,
they read it and were like, I didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Because these have, like, Butcher Blackbird has a 4.04, and this has a 4. So, I don't know. And then Storygraph has a 3.98, so basically 4. And it only has 31,000 ratings. So, I mean, I'm sure, I guess it's accurate. I don't know. I'm curious. We'll obviously go to our ratings at the end, but I'm curious what you rated this. Okay.
Your cat's gonna eat your headphones.
She's fine.
Is she fine?
Yeah, she is. Okay. So, Lark and Lachlan. Audiobook wise, did the characters match the like what you pictured them sounding like in your head?
I mean, not particularly. Because, like, just comparing, like, apples to apples with the first one, the first male, like, Butcher Blackbird's male narrator was fucking amazing. I highly recommend the first one.
I wonder who it is.
The second one, I understood they were trying to, like, because it's done by a different production company, so they have a different range of narrators they can use. And then I also found out that these are the same narrators for the next book, and I'm not looking forward to that if I do go to it.
Does it say who I'm trying to see if Goodreads actually lists. Oh, so the narrators are Eric for the second book with Eric Nolan and Samantha Brentmore.
Yeah.
And then let's see who did the Leather and Lark. So the guy in Leather Lark or in Butcher Blackbird you liked better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Highly recommend the Butcher Blackbird one.
I feel like I've heard that so many times though. Oh, there's the audio. Oh, you're right. This is a different. So this is Joe Arden and Lucy Rivers. But you're right. This is a different company. The company that did this is like an audiobook company. And then the Leather and Lark one is Audible.
No, the Leather Lark one was done by
Zando.
Yeah.
The
production company or the publishing house.
Because this one.
But they're the same narrators for Scythe and Sparrow. And I don't know if I'm going to go to it because.
So you read the book?
I read the book.
Okay, but you're not sure if you're going to also go and listen to it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's the same audio narrators, and I wasn't a super big fan of...
I mean, fair. Okay. Interesting. I'm not going to read the back of this book. Also because since you brought it up last time, I've been thinking about us reading the back of the book. Honestly, it just makes us sound like we can't read.
We can't read.
So I'm not going to embarrass myself any longer, and we're not going to read the back of the book. And if you would like to read the back of the book,
plot twist,
please go do it. Okay. So one of the things I didn't feel like I knew Lark and Lachlan as well as I did Rowan and...
Yeah, because you kind of got, like, the thing is, it's like, I got a pretty good understanding of Lark from the first book.
But she feels different in this book.
She feels different. And, like, I don't know, it's just, like, this book just didn't hit the same. Like, you're not getting the same...
Agreed. Yeah, I would agree.
Depth of character.
I just felt like Sloane and Rowan had two very distinct personalities.
Yeah, you know exactly who they were.
Because Rowan's like kind of a golden retriever, but also a psycho because he's killing people. Whereas Sloane is like a classic black cat.
Mm-hmm.
Lark kind of wasn't. She didn't really fit into anything, and not to say that you can't be more than one. Like that's who like she has to be boxed into a single character type. But I just feel like I didn't quite know her enough to like root for her.
Mm-hmm.
And Lachlan was like kind of grumpy, but then like also soft. But he never quite did enough of one or the other. Does that make sense? Like he was never fully grumpy or fully soft with just her. Like he always was kind of back and forth, and it was kind of confusing.
I mean, I guess.
Like I thought he was going to be this grumpy older brother, and he kind of wasn't, but he kind of was. The whole, he pined for Lark the whole time.
Yeah.
There was nothing about it where you thought that he didn't like her. This is only enemies to lovers because of Lark, not because of Lachlan.
Whoa!
I mean, besides their first meeting, but he immediately
is
like...
It was his fault that she didn't like him.
Fair.
And he wasn't actively doing anything to convince her to not think that of him.
I mean, he was. He just never actually apologized until, he did. In classic man fashion, she was like, I just need him to say I'm sorry. And he just kept being like, I'm going to show her I'm sorry and never actually say it. And then when he finally does, she's like, okay, forgive it. And he's like, what? And you're like, yeah, I just needed to hear you say you're sorry. Like, that was all I needed. Okay. would you consider this a standalone?
No.
Yeah, I agree. So I feel like
You can't read any. Basically, the only one that's standalone is Butcher
the
and
first
Blackbird.
one.
Because the villain is from Butcher and Blackbird. Like,
Yeah, so
all the conflict happens because of
Rowan and Sloane.
Yeah. And I wish it didn't. I wish, like...
I wish it was something to do with, like, her family.
Yeah.
I just felt like... I felt like the plot line carryover didn't need to happen. Because I feel like this could have been a standalone. Because, while Rose and Sloane and, like, the brothers are in it, you don't really need to know who they are outside of how they present in the book. Like, it's kind of explained enough in the book that you don't need a backstory.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is the plot is a carryover, so you can't just jump in because then you'll be like, who the fuck is this bad guy? I don't get it.
Yeah. Also, this is my confusion. So when they picked, because Lachlan picks the people they go after in their little
Game.
Their little August showdown.
Yeah.
Did he not know that was going to be
Isn't that a
Forest Phantom? Because Rowan is selling this Forest Phantom as like, this is the big bad. Like, we're going to hunt, like, this is the prize of like hunting him down. And then the first one they go after is the Forest Phantom. Like,
but they don't get him.
But they don't
obviously.
get him. But like,
I mean, also,
but then,
isn't
what were
that
they
the
doing
whole-
at the end of Butcher and Blackbird? I thought they were going after the Forest Phantom.
see, so I don't, yeah,
So I was just really confused because
as to why it had to carry over because it felt like a plot line that could have carried over, but relative to just Sloane and Rowan.
Yeah.
Like, oh, by the way, they're also hunting this guy, and like that could be the only drop, and then it should have been something specific to Lark
Mm-hmm.
and her family
Yeah.
because I just didn't feel like it needed to carry
'Cause
over.
It was like, at the end of the day, this book is still revolving around Rowan and Sloane.
Yes, but also not because they're like barely in it.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that I think I didn't like was that you have to read book 1 because you have to get the plot for book 2, but then there's not enough cameos for you to even really feel like you got Rowan and Sloane either, and you're like, I know them and I want to see them, but they didn't really, they were kind of meh. You know?
I mean, I don't think you need like a big cameo from them.
No, but what was in it was perfect, but then they shouldn't have carried the plot over. If you were going to have them not play as big of a part in this book, the plot shouldn't carry over.
Also, I will say they have this whole overlying plot of like the reason they got married is because someone's picking off people from Lark's family and they're trying to frame Lachlan as.
Although I didn't see how any of that was happening, I didn't make the connection between like maybe it's Lachlan.
Well, because she got him fired, so then the family automatically was like, "Oh, someone's picking off her family. It's because."
I think that was a bit of a stretch.
I mean, it was a bit of a stretch, but also like, I don't know. I can't understand.
So this is another. Maybe I just missed this. What the fuck does her dad do? So, my understanding,
I assume they're like both some form of bakery or like franchised
'Cause
goods.
my understanding was that her mom's side of the family ran this bakery.
But it's not technically her mom's side of the family.
Well, it's
her
her aunt.
mom runs the family, but her aunt is from her dad, like her actual like biological father.
Oh.
She's a Montague, and then when her mom got married in family, she
And then
was taking over the business and kind of just took over
because
her dad because her dad died, and
Right.
then when they brought in, I assume her stepdad has like
his own thing, but
his
it was
own
never
franchise,
explained
but his own like some form of thing like it.
because they both sound bloodthirsty as fuck, and I was like, okay,
Or maybe
I'm
he's
here
just
for
like
it.
a full mobster.
Okay, so like it was never explained, and I was like, okay,
But I assume because they kept bringing up how bloodthirsty the baked goods goods industry was.
It
That
just was-
it was like kind of they both did the same thing. Like, but
Oh.
it was the muffins that were the main.
Because I just kept
focus.
being like, I don't get what the dad does when the cleaner, quote unquote, because that's what Lachlan was when they first met, is his dad's contract or her dad's contract.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, what the fuck does he need a cleaner for? When he like,
because he's like a mobster. Did you not get that?
no, I was like, what does he do? I don't understand.
Because the muffin business necessarily is not mob business or mobster-esque business, but they might do some illegal things.
Yeah,
And I'm assuming that's because her stepdad
okay,
is somehow involved.
okay. Because I was
Because
like,
I don't assume that
I
her
see.
aunt, when her aunt was running it, was like, you know what we should also do? We should also run guns. Like, I don't see.
Oh. Okay, because that didn't clue in for me. I kept being like, what the fuck does this guy do? And why do they need to have, like, this assassin / like, cleanup crew? Like, what?
Honestly, Lachlan doesn't seem like a very good assassin
No.
or
He also,
cleanup
I just
crew.
kept waiting for that to come back around because the whole point was that he's a hitman. I
But
kept
he
being
doesn't
like,
hit anything.
no, he doesn't hit anything. I just kept being like,
Lark
okay.
kills more people than.
I kept being like, okay, power couple, because you have Rowan and Sloane, who are 2 serial killers, and then you have Hitman over here and serial killer Lark, and I was like, this is gonna come back around. Instead, he was just like, kind of like, it never came back around. Anyway, that was my side note, was just like, what the fuck does her family do? Because I was like, I'm fucking confused. And also, what does she do? Like,
She's like a music therapist, is she not?
oh fuck. Okay, so they mentioned that she was doing that at a rec center, and I was like, oh,
No,
sounds
I
fun.
remember that from Butcher Blackbird.
Okay, because I don't remember that, and I was like, I'm fucking confused what she does for a living. Because, like, I get
But
that she's
like
also helping this
she's
band
like a
out.
rich kid.
Yeah, she's a nepo baby.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
like,
her
she
job.
doesn't
Is she's
need to work,
I
but
see.
she can fuck off for months and tour with a band.
Okay, so that was that makes sense. That
I
makes
also
sense.
just want to put a PSA that if you listen to the audiobook, they do sing in
So,
this
okay.
book.
So when you told me that, I hadn't yet read the book, but now that I've read the book, so the scene.
The scene in the bar, well, not the bar, but when she's playing with a band and
Yeah,
she's
it's like
singing
it's
the
the
new
bar.
song about Lachlan to Lachlan,
Yeah.
and they're locking eyes. She's singing.
Okay. Is it good? Like, is the singing good?
It's okay. I definitely don't think this audiobook narrator was like
Doing it.
has a singing career ahead of her, but I assume she was picked because she could somewhat sing and carry a tune.
Oh.
But also, I don't need that or want that in my audiobook.
How long was it?
It was at least like half a chapter, so maybe like 5 minutes. Because it
Oh,
was
God.
like her singing and then jumping to his monologue. Because it was a duet, so they have both narrators in the
Oh.
chapter. And
Right.
she's singing a piece of the chorus, and like this is like beef, and this is
I mean, because
this is-
in the book, that's how it is. It's like it's
Yeah.
like her singing, and then it's like his little POV, and then her singing again.
this is my beef with books about people who sing and people who do music. Is I don't want your fucking poems in the book. Okay?
Why not?
I don't need it. I don't want it. Just stop putting poems in your book. Just like this is also comes to head in Daisy Jones and the Six. She puts all the fucking songs they write in the back of the book. And I don't need that
Oh.
shit. Okay? We don't need singing. We don't need poems. I don't need it. Unless they're like,
A poetry book.
this is like a poetry book, yeah. Or he writes her a love letter. No, I don't want your songs. I don't want you singing. I just no. We get it. That she sings. We got it. Understood.
You're really.
It's so jarring. It's like if I'm
This
listening
is a
to
hill you're
I'm
gonna
listening
die
to this
on.
audiobook and like she just starts randomly singing in my ear and I'm like, what is going on?
Okay, so to be fair, the poem thing and the song lyrics, I'm fine with, whatever. The singing in the audiobook, fair. That's
bookstagrammer I follow, or like a book talker I follow. And she also had the same. She was like, I was just listening to an audiobook that had singing in it. It wasn't Leather Lark. I think it was Wild Eyes. I'm assuming it's Wild Eyes.
Oh.
That's also a new release.
Which comes out literally in 3 days.
Wild Eyes is already out.
Oh, Wild Side is what comes out.
But Wild Eyes, she's like a country singer. And like, she also was like, please stop singing in audiobooks. And I was like, thank you. I feel so heard.
I mean, so I haven't yet to experience this because I'm not much of an audiobook person, but I do agree that would be really confusing and too much. I would be also alarmed. So that's fair. How did you feel about their first, like, quote unquote meet cute that was like not cute?
I understood he had no glasses on, but I don't think
I thought that was kind of funny.
But also, if he's driving, he should have glasses on.
No, but he's nearsighted.
But how does he see anything on his dashboard?
See, I'm not nearsighted, so I would know. You had glasses. Like I
was farsighted.
Okay, I was like, I'm not sure how that works.
I would need to wear my glasses for driving, and I'm pretty sure, depending on your prescription, unless it's so low that like things are just a little blurry, you are probably legally obligated to wear your glasses at all times.
Or did he have them and just not have them on because he was in the water?
I don't understand how nearsighting, or like, I don't understand how the nearsighting glasses work, because for me, when I was wearing my glasses, I could still see things up close.
Yeah.
Through my glasses. And I understand people can get the like
half and half,
so they can see. But I assume he's not going to do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But also, Harley Quinn makeup. Don't think that. I don't think that obscures your features enough. That if I met someone
in the dark, though, it's like the middle of the night.
I mean, I guess, but it's also just like he was able to clock that she had a giant gash on her fucking head, but not that she was like vaguely kind of looks like Sloane's friend.
I mean, I kind of get like when you're not expecting something, you're not looking for it either. So I do get that, but
also her voice.
Yeah, the voice thing would have given it away. Also, because like the voice thing would have given it away at the party. So like, why did that not click sooner for them?
Well, he's just not. I just don't think he's good at his job.
It didn't make it seem like he was. Besides the fact
like, that the thing I got out of this was I just don't think Lachlan's a good hitman.
I wish that there was more hitman stuff. Like, I know he was trying to get out of the biz, but I wish that the boss called him in to do more actual.
Well, that's why
I
was
wanted.
like really. I understand that like the purpose of all these books was supposed to be like murder somebody but I really wish that it was just him instead of Lark killing people, like, and like not even like slowly poisoning someone over a period of time kind of killing. It was like she blew a guy up with fireworks.
Yeah.
And then she put another guy in epoxy and used it as a table, like a coffee table.
When I think about that, how big that fucking table
but
would
also,
have been.
okay, what I was thinking of, because I've seen these. I haven't followed the whole series, but I've seen it on Instagram. There's these YouTubers that tried to epoxy a pumpkin,
like a big pumpkin,
like a Halloween jack-o'-lantern.
Okay. And
they wanted it to be preserved in epoxy.
Okay. Did it work?
No. They've never figured out how to do it. So I'm like, how do you put a body in epoxy? Because they couldn't even get a fucking pumpkin to work.
Like it rotted?
It one way it rotted, other ways it like just like all the liquids in it just started like expanding the epoxy box, and then it started leaking.
Ew.
And then it started. So one of the other ones started shrinking. Like they did like 4 different versions. They're like, we have to cook the pumpkin before we put it in the epoxy, and then it still released liquid, or like it was just like rotting. And they're like, I just don't think we can epoxy. And I was like, while I was reading that,
you're like, this is it.
Okay. While I was reading, I was just like, where do all the fucking liquids in the body go?
I mean, Yeah. I have not seen that video.
That
so that didn't think
probably
I didn't think of that.
stinks. Also, probably ugly.
Yeah. I mean, it would have had to be a really big table.
It had to be really
grown-ass
big,
man.
but also like it was like thin enough that she was able to saw off some of his nose, and then she covered it with a sticker. So like that table, like their house probably smells.
Yeah. And yeah.
Also, she has other trophies
yeah.
that are just held in a fucking hole in the wall.
I just
Like the finger in the jar?
Yeah. And he was like, what is this? And she's like, oh, I don't.
I
yeah.
thought the Morocco's was pretty good though, but that would have taken so much time.
Also,
and then it was
gross.
teeth inside of it. It's so funny.
When he opened it and he was like,
Those are
what the
teeth.
actual fuck?
And then because he was traumatized from that smoothie
Yeah.
that had teeth in it, he was just like, I don't like teeth. What is going on here?
I also thought this was really fucking slow. I
Yeah.
thought this would be faster.
It's a slow book. Because so in
Literally,
terms,
the plot of the killing guy, like the bad guy, happens literally in the second to last chapter.
yeah.
And then it just ends.
Yeah.
Like they save Lark and then the end. And then all you get is the epilogue.
But the epilogue is literally just what's going on in the next book.
Yes, pretty much.
And then this bonus epilogue, which is where
You get them. Yeah.
But yeah, cuz like in terms of audiobook, I want people to know. So this is like I think it's like a 10-hour audiobook. And they don't start fucking until there's 3 hours left.
Yeah, this is a slow book. Like it felt slow. Like I kept being this took me a week to read. That's really long for me. Usually I'm reading books in 2 to 3 days. This took me a full 7 days.
Yeah.
Because I just couldn't get into it. It just was so slow. And Marriage of Convenience is my trope. It is almost always hits for me. It never doesn't hit. This book, well, I wouldn't say it was bad. It just like I felt like Butcher Blackbird was such a high, and then this one just like wasn't. It just wasn't the same level.
Mm-hmm.
So okay. So what was your favorite part?
I like the scene when they're trying to take out the eyeballs. And they're both like gagging, and then like Connor on the line is just like
Laughing.
Yeah.
See, but this is where I was like, is he a hitman?
But he's not. He
Like,
doesn't
I
take
feel like-
he doesn't take trophies.
But I feel like he'd have done
He
some
seems
really
like a dude who just like shoots someone with
a gun
with a gun.
and leaves.
Yeah.
I mean, that was never explained, so I guess we'll never know.
Or he picks up like fresh bodies, not and he's not dissecting them.
I guess I just was kind
See,
of like,
I think everything would have been solved much easier if Lark had just told Sloane, that's what it was wild to me. It was like the fact that Lark just didn't want to tell Sloane that she killed people too.
yeah,
Because it was like, you're there and like you're supporting your friend who is a serial killer.
and
And she's like a very theatric serial killer.
yeah.
And my thing is just like, why don't you just tell her?
Yeah, I didn't quite understand that either. Like, why that couldn't be. Although Sloane has an inkling that Lark.
Well, yeah, she
does
was like,
shady shit.
suspicious that your ex-boyfriend that cheated on you ended up being exploded by fireworks. Super suspicious.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think Lark ever tells Lachlan the reason why she was out on that road.
No. Not in this. Like, I think he assumes.
But I don't think she ever
He never says.
he talks about how like it's all her fault that like he had to leave the party. But I think if she was just like, and he's like, and you just carelessly killed somebody, and you were like
She never.
flippant about it.
She never says, I kill predators. Like,
Yeah.
like sexual predators. She never confirms that with
And
him.
then they
You're
don't
right.
they don't do a little thing that's like, oh, Lachlan starts looking into like that crash and be like, oh, suspicious.
Which they should have. Like,
They
that should have
should've.
been in the book.
Or they should have point blank when he was like, you, like,
Kill people.
Kill people.
Why do you kill people?
and then she was like, well, you know, the guy I ran into the fucking river there.
He's into, like,
he was a
into
Redditor.
minors. Yeah. Like, you're right. That actually is never confirmed. She never says, because the whole point of Rowan and Sloane both kill bad people. That's how they justified in their head. They're like, well, these are other serial killers.
Except for,
or
though,
other bad
now
people.
that I think about it, with Butcher and Blackbird, you never get much about Rowan's killing. It's only like when they talk about killing, they mainly focus on Sloane's stuff and like how she like weaves the webs and like,
because I feel like Rowan's killings are just like, fuck this guy, and he just, let's just go butcher. Like, he literally just goes in for the biggest, bloodiest way to do it, and he's like, peace. And he just calls Lachlan to clean it up.
anyway.
I liked so because I haven't listened to the audiobook and did not get the singing.
You like the singing?
I liked the vibrator part
Oh, when she was playing
when she's on stage.
cello.
So that I liked. I
was trying to gauge because I think when I read it the first time, I was like, "This is a bar," but then,
yeah.
and I was listening to it, I was like, he was like, "There's like 500 people here," and I'm like, "There's no way 500 people would fit in a bar." So it would have to be like at least a small theater.
Yeah, must be a small.
And I was just trying to gauge like what kind of thing it is.
It sounded like a bar.
It sounded like a bar to me, but I think it was like a small theater. I think it was like, think the Commodore Ballroom-esque, the Vogue theater.
Okay,
or maybe,
where it's like standing room.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And there's like some tables.
yeah. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I would agree with that description. That was my favorite part, though, was the vibrator scene, because I was unexpected. I was like, oh,
I love how he like didn't understand what a vibrator
he was like, what
remote
is
was,
this?
because they all basically look the same. I will
Yes,
say
they do.
So like you see one, you know exactly what it looks. All the other ones look like.
yeah, they're kind of
But it was just a bullet, right?
I think so.
Okay.
That's the way that like
I was trying to figure out what her outfit looked like. I've said this before. I hate it when they fucking describe clothing. It really just like at some point it will age the piece. But I couldn't understand the harness and the tool, because I was like, is she not wearing it? She's just wearing like underwear underneath this tool dress and then a harness on top, or is she wearing like,
I don't know.
is she wearing a skirt? Is she wearing pants? Like, I just remember this tool, but then also it would just look weird if she just walked in with a fucking tutu.
I didn't even clock that in my brain at all. I was like,
They described
dress.
it because I understand the harness. Like, you can describe the harness because obviously, like,
relevant.
he made it for her. But like, I couldn't figure out
Anything else?
this outfit, because like
you pick up on the strangest things. I didn't at all. That was just like not something that was ever in my brain. I was like,
well, you
dress.
can't put so much emphasis on the harness, and then she puts it on top of whatever her outfit is.
I just was like,
and then
harness
she
cool.
describes the outfit, and I'm like, if I went to a fucking show and the lead singer showed up in that, I would be like, what the fuck am I on?
I mean, we don't know what kind of music they were playing. Actually, you do, because you listened to it.
Well, there wasn't actual music in the background.
Oh,
it was just her singing.
Oh.
Apparently, though, in Wild
That's
Eyes,
confusing.
because I listened to the clip, and they always just do the like opening credit, so they just talk about like the narrators, and so apparently there is like a whole ensemble that like they've licensed out for it.
Elsie's Silver is big enough to
Except for
that.
they can't. Okay, this is a side tangent, like most of what's going on today. Can we just do all audiobooks that are dual POV as dual or duet instead of dual?
I mean, I'm sure that's more expensive.
It probably is more expensive, but it's also like, I don't like listening to them try to do the other gender's voice.
This is where I'm like, if you can't have two narrators do a duet, don't make your voice sound like a girl if you're not a girl. Like, don't make your voice try to sound deeper or more high pitch based on what you think the other gender sounds like. Just do it in your normal voice.
Because sometimes it's fine, but other times, like, I listened to like half of that Neon God audiobook.
Yes.
And that was horrendous.
So I
It's
listened
one
to
of the
that as well.
worst female voices I've ever, man doing a female voice I've ever heard.
So creepy.
It's
it was
like you're
so
not
weird.
making me like the female character when you're doing it in that voice.
I agree. So
Like,
I also listened to that, and now I don't listen to audiobooks. I was like,
okay,
what
I
is
would
this?
recommend Butcher Blackbird, Lights Out, Deep End. I had a really good time with.
Ollie Hazelwood's audiobooks I've heard are all really good though.
Yeah, because I also listened to her, like, the Spotify original one.
Yeah,
but
the
that one
player
doesn't.
one.
That one's not a duet. That one's just single.
Although,
But they don't change their voice drastically enough that you're like,
this is weird.
this is weird. It was just kind of like she deepens it a little bit like that.
Oh. Okay, what was your favorite part or
I said
least favorite part of this book?
I mean, probably just like the whole fucking ending.
Yeah. It was just so, I just felt like it was so anticlimactic because, like, he takes her. This literally happens in a chapter. Like, all of it happens in, like, one chapter. Yeah. And I was like, oh. And it's not really descriptive. It's like, because you get Lark inside the oven,
Mm-hmm.
you don't get Lachlan's POV, and then he gets her out and they're done.
Oh, and then Rose gets stabbed.
Which isn't stated in this.
It's not stated in it. It's stated in the
next one, which I didn't know until I was like, I don't get the Rose thing. And you were like, oh, she gets stabbed. And I was like, oh.
Yeah. She gets stabbed with the leather tool.
I just thought it was so...
I love how he was like this bad guy, not a super great serial killer in my opinion, because it was like so far off of like if he's the Phantom of the Forest who just picks off hikers and campers, what the fuck is he doing stalking someone through Boston?
Yeah, and he kills like 10 other people related to Lark.
Yeah. Also, how did he get that fucking horse pommel?
Maybe it was actually his.
It probably was his, but they're throwing information about this dude, and I fucking hate those chapters that they had. I really didn't need.
I didn't like the chapters in his POV.
You didn't need the Phantom chapters, because like you got it. Okay, there's a serial killer going after them. We got it. We got the gist of it. Understood.
Yeah. Also, so he's in one chapter. He's in Rowan and Sloane's house, and in Butcher and Blackbird, Sloane has set up cameras purposely to watch Rowan do random shit. I was like, did they not know that there's a guy in their fucking house?
Well,
I was confused by that.
He probably figured out there was cameras in the house,
but that was never stated. So I was like, this doesn't make sense.
I understand. I don't know.
The more I talk about this book, the lower the rating actually ends up being.
Yeah,
because my least favorite part is also
it's just
that same.
I'm telling you right now, I don't think Skythan Sparrow is
gonna sell me.
It's gonna sell you very much.
Because I don't know. My favorite part, my least favorite part is the same thing. The like climax is just weird. The serial killer part that's after them because of Sloane and Rowan. I just felt like it was such it felt like a stretch. And
also, they didn't state if they had a bomb under their car.
It just said that there might be, so they got out.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was confusing.
But also, I feel like that would have been so easy to just text him and be like, hey, get out of the fucking car. You need to get out of the car, like, right now, without him knowing. Because he wouldn't have known that they got out of the car.
Also, I'm pretty sure Rose could have done that.
Yeah.
Well, he was just trying, and that's what I mean. The whole that whole part was just weird. It just like there's so many things that I was like, I don't get it. Okay. So on that note, what was your rating?
I think I gave this a 4.
Yeah.
On like all.
But so
I think I just like, cause I'm like I know we're complaining about it. I know we're like nitpicking.
But is that just because Butcher and Blackbird was such a high?
I mean, I didn't have a terrible time with this. You know, like I didn't have a like the worst time with this.
So
but like, and I will say, I was entertained throughout the entire audiobook.
because I gave this a 4 on Goodreads because it's not a 3. This isn't a 3, but this isn't a 4 either. And I feel like it's not close enough to a 3 to round down, so I rounded up to a 4. But I gave this like a 3.5 or 3.75 on Storygraph because this isn't a 4 in my opinion. This is like a solid 3.5, maybe 3.75. But on Goodreads, you can't go to the points. So I was like, this isn't low enough to give it a 3, but it's so I guess I'm giving it a 4. I feel like maybe that's why it has a 4.
Probably.
Although, like, I guess Storygraph also has it at a 3.98. So like,
because it was in between. Like if I gave it a 4 and you gave it a 3.75, what's in the middle?
I guess so. But I guess more people are giving it a 4 than a 3.75.
Yeah.
Because like I would put this somewhere between a 3.75 and a 4. I guess depending on what you like.
I mean, I didn't have a terrible time with it. I think these books are like they're funny when
I didn't find this one quite as funny as the first one.
I think the like dialogue is like very good.
Yes, and we've read other Brynne Weaver books, and her like banter dialogue is always really good.
It was just like we lost the sauce with the plot.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Like the plot is what just I don't know didn't quite hit. Okay, would you reread this?
I mean, I have reread it,
but that's the audiobook. So now that you've listened to the audiobook and the book, are you going to reread this?
I don't know if I'll go back to the physical. Well, maybe. No, probably not.
Yeah, I don't think I'd reread this. Butcher
Blackbird,
Blackbird, yes, I'll probably reread. I can't see myself rereading this.
I did tell you. I didn't warn you.
Yeah. Would you recommend this?
Probably not. Because it's not standalone. It's not I mean, if you're already read Butcher and Blackbird and you enjoyed Butcher and Blackbird,
then yes.
I'd be like, yeah, sure, go read the next 2 because you just want to complete the whole series.
Yeah.
But I don't think on its own, like, if you can't even pick it up if you haven't read Butcher and Blackbird. And then you can't, like, it's just not
what's the
good
plot?
enough on a standalone that I would be like...
No, you'd be confused.
Yeah.
You'd be confused if you read this as a standalone. What is the plot in book 3? Like, do I...
So it kind of...
Is that more of a standalone?
I think you could read Scythe and Sparrow as a standalone because it's like...
Okay.
Basically, it starts... I don't want to say it starts around the same time as Butcher and Blackbird, but it starts like they... When we meet Rose in Butcher and Blackbird, she's already known... Fionn for like at least 4 months.
Okay, so
it would be living in his house for at least 4 months.
Okay, so they maybe not start at the same time because Butcher and Blackbird spans over like a year and a half, isn't it? Like almost 2 years,
3 years.
So then it would be coming closer to the end of Butcher and Blackbird.
Yeah, and then it like spans over like the end of Scythe and Sparrow is basically the end of Leather Lark. So like the climax of Scythe and Sparrow happens in timeline around the same time as Leather Lark.
Okay, so I'm assuming it probably takes place slightly
because like the day before their little climax action section happens
in this,
and then they have that like third acty breakup, and then Rose gets stabbed, and then Fionn has to leave. And then it was kind of like, it's like a couple months, but it's like flash forward a couple months.
I see. So, okay. Also, side note, the dog lives. And Fionn saves it, so we're okay.
It also warns you in Scythe and Sparrow that the dog lives.
Why do people do this to us? At least we know the dog lives. It's funny because we're like scooping out eyeballs. Gross, but okay.
Pizza smoothies.
Gross, but okay. Ice cream. Gross, but okay. The dog dying.
I mean, Roman does eat someone's
person.
butt, and then Sloane has to scrape it off his tongue, so he doesn't choke on it.
The more they talk about this book, the more I'm like, Butcher and Blackbird was better.
It was better. It is the best of the three.
Now I'm like, okay, would I reread this? Probably not. Do I want to listen to the audiobook now? Also probably not.
I would listen to the Butcher and Blackbird.
You did not sell that for me.
No, the singing really, really threw me off. I don't need that.
I just picture you.
I don't need that at 8:30 in the morning. You know, me strolling along, and then suddenly she starts singing to me.
You specifically, to you. Okay. What would you say the steam was? Like a 2?
Like a 2. They don't
like it all just happens all at once.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
But also Butcher and Blackbird happens quite close to the end too.
I guess so, but there's so much more going on in Butcher and Blackbird that you like don't notice as much. Okay. Do you have anything else to say about this book?
No.
If someone read this book and didn't like it as much as Butcher and Blackbird, would you say yes, read the next one? The fact that you pause says a lot.
Probably not, because like I would say it's Sky and
par.
Sparrow is probably par with this one.
Okay.
Because it was kind of like the thing is with Butcher and Blackbird is it's establishing the world, so it's like explaining and like
yeah,
telling you who these people are.
Right.
But then in these two books, they're already assuming that you know who
Everybody.
they are.
Yeah.
So then they kind of get into the plot a lot faster.
Right.
So that's what I found with like Scythe and Sparrow. It was like you're already assuming I know who these people are, which is why this is happening so fast, but I don't really know who these people are. And also they don't really match up with who I thought they were.
Yeah, I agree because, like even Rose in this, so in the first book, she sounds like a fucking psycho, which is honestly, you're kind of like, I want that. Like that's the whole, like, because Sloane's also kind of a psycho. And then she's having lunch with Lark in this book and she's crying and I'm like, who is this? I don't want this.
Yeah.
I want more psycho bitch. I don't want crier at the brunch.
She's a little bit of a psycho, but she
also cries at brunch.
But then I'm not going to tell you why she cries at brunch unless you want to.
No. I'm going to read. I might end up reading it, and I hate when you spoil things. So, okay. All right. I don't have anything else to add. So, what are you reading right now?
I'm reading, I think it's The Charlie Method.
Everybody keeps talking about this. I have
It
not
just came out. It came out like 4 days ago.
read
any
single L. Kennedy book.
Besides us and him and us.
Yes.
I enjoyed her. Here's the thing. It's fine. So her first series, I forgot what that one's called, but it's not the Bear You one. Not the Legacy. It's the one with it's the Garrett and Hannah, and anyway, that series very good. She sticks it to the friend group. There's four roommates that live in this house. We have 4 books plus a like epilogue book. The next book or the next series should have kept it at 3, but for some reason we got another one that she does not acknowledge in any of her, like, because it's like a universe now.
Yeah.
She does not acknowledge that last book in that second series.
Okay.
Because the other characters keep coming back, and then I've never seen any of these characters come back. I am enjoying the new series, but I really hope she doesn't continue with the, like, trying to follow a specific friend group. I think she needs to just start going after all the kids.
Oh, God.
Because I already know who the next book is going to be about.
I mean, hasn't she already announced it? I thought she already announced it.
She already announced, like, who she wants to follow, but I don't know if she's announced the next book. But I think it's going to be Blake and Isaiah. Because he's a football player.
I think the next one's a trio.
Though that's the Charlie Method.
Oh. I see. Okay. I haven't read any Elle Kennedy books, so also because she rates mostly hockey romance, and
you don't like hockey.
and I'm not a hockey.
I think the
romance
next
fan,
one,
so.
who's Blake and Isaiah, I think because he's a wide receiver, so I think it's gonna be a football book.
Interesting. Wait, it's an MM?
No.
Oh well, Blake
Her
and
name is-
Isaiah. Her
name is she's a one of the original Thor's kids.
part of me is just like, can we not just let it go?
I honestly
Just
kind of
create
love
new
it.
people.
I kind of love it.
All right, well,
Like the Renaverse. I enjoy seeing all the
To be fair,
cameos.
as someone who
You haven't read any of the other Rena
I know,
Kent
which
books.
now I'm starting to go back and trying to read. I'm just like really slow about it. Okay, I am in a rejected mate era. That's all I want right now is rejected mate, which we talked about recently because I was like, I need.
But she's so picky about her guidelines. She's
I just like.
can't be more than
So okay,
3.
so I read the next book. So next week's book, we're doing God of Fury by Rena Kent, and it put me in such a slump afterwards that I was like, I don't know what to do with my life. I don't know what I want to read. I don't like this. This isn't hitting. Like what normally hits for me wasn't hitting, and I was just generally fucking confused. So I've reverted back to the. Because similar to how you revert back to Omegaverse,
But
I revert back to Shifter. And then I'm like, here we are. We're just here.
Shifter.
We're in Rejected Mate Shifter era.
you
This is
finish?
where we are.
You could read a Susanna Wright because you know exactly what you're getting into it.
So I'm reading a Kate C. Wells. I'm reading My Curvy Rejected Me.
Oh,
The titles are...
it's not good though. I read it. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really? I'm like halfway. But you know what? I just need something to get me out of this slump. I
think I have a Shifter Rejected Me.
I just need someone to get me out of this slump. And so far, I'm here. Like I'm in it, and it's okay. So we're good. But I was having a moment. So anyway, that's what I'm reading. And then I guess I already gave away next week. We're reading God of Fury by Rena Kent. And I'm glad we picked God of Fury because the other one we read was Jeremy's book.
Mm-hmm.
And this felt right. I wanted to just read Nikolai's book, but it felt right that they were connected. So they're the two that we picked because they're the friend. The two of them are like besties. So that felt.
Are they besties?
I mean, yeah. We'll talk about that in our other episode. But anyway, so yeah, that is what I'm reading. That's what we're doing next week. I don't have anything else to say.
Nothing to plug.
Well, when this comes out, the spring boxes will be closed for order.
Yeah, so you missed out.
You did. You
Sucks
missed
to
out.
suck.
And we're doing a romantasy for our next book club. And people are apparently really fucking into that because I have had so many signups already, which usually they kind of trickle in. But I had like 10 people sign up on the first day that I released the tickets. So we're reading Phantasma if anyone wants to join us on March 26th. That's all I've got. So there we are. Anything else to say?
No.
All right. So rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast. That's really helpful when you do. Our YouTube channel is like always bumping, it feels like. There's always new followers on our YouTube channel. And no, we will not be doing regular video yet because that's more editing
Because you just have
capacity
to
than I
see me
have.
roll around on Ayesha's floor
And
for an hour.
our animals constantly running in and out of the camera. But rate, review, and subscribe. It's helpful. We appreciate it. Otherwise, we'll be back in your ears next week.
Bye.